Imagine if you're the grocery store owner and you have a customer who's at your checkout and the cashier is running their items through, and somebody walks in the front door of the grocery store
Mhm.
and walks up to them and says,
Yeah,
"Here, get 20% off of your
yeah.
order," as they're getting their debit card out to pay.
Welcome to eCommerce Deep Dive, a podcast featuring the biggest players in retail and e-commerce. Your host is John Ghiorso, founder and CEO of Orca Pacific, a Mighty Hive company. For today's episode, John talks with Kathleen Booth, VP of Marketing at cleanio. She and John talk about how online retailers can increase profit margins by adjusting their discounting and coupon strategy. They also discuss how coupon browser extensions interfere with marketing revenue attribution. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
All right, Kathleen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. It'd be great to start out with a little bit about you and your background, and then what you're up to today, and what Clean does in the e-commerce industry.
Sure. So I'm Kathleen Booth. I'm currently Vice President of Marketing for Clean.io. I've been in the marketing world for a long time. I actually owned a digital marketing agency for 11 years, and we were really on the sort of demand and lead gen side for B2B. But several years ago, I sold the company and went in-house. I had been wanting to do that for a while. And I've been in a variety of companies since then. And currently, as I said, I'm at clean.io. We're a digital engagement security platform, and we were founded in 2017. And our original product that we started with, it was on the ad tech side. So our customers are large online publishing companies like the Boston Globe, Xandr, which is an advertising platform, the Chive. We have, lots of companies you probably have heard of, but think about big publishers that monetize their site through advertising. And what we do on that side of the business is we protect against malicious ads. So if you're somebody who visits a lot of media sites, you've probably experienced this. You click on an ad and it might, every now and then you might hit one that takes you somewhere you didn't expect to go. Like either a pop-up comes up in your browser and it says, hey, you're eligible for a sweepstakes, or it takes you to another website where there's a scam. That's all called malvertising, and it manifests in different ways. But we have a script that those kinds of companies can put on their sites that recognizes when an ad is going to do something it shouldn't do, and it stops that action from happening in real time. So our script is on more than 7 million websites, and we see a lot of code and recognize a lot of patterns. And in the course of that, we saw some things popping up that shouldn't have been there. And they all fall into the category of kind of either malicious or untrusted code. And one of the untrusted types of code that we saw were third-party extensions, and specifically chief amongst those are coupon extensions. So I don't call those malicious because they're not out to do something necessarily nefarious, but they are untrusted because the websites that they operate on didn't ask for them to be there, right? You own your site, you didn't necessarily sign up to have an extension injecting coupons on it. And so when we saw that happening, we dug in a little deeper, and that was how our newest product was born, which is something called Clean Cart, which prevents coupon extensions from auto injecting at checkout. So really the theme of what the company does is all around controlling the third-party code that executes on your website.
Yeah. Okay, that's super interesting. So then, for the publisher, what is the and I told you before the conversation I was going to ask some dumb questions. So dumb question number one: what is the benefit of preventing a coupon from being automatically kind of filled in on the site?
Sure. So the kinds of companies that use that product, our new Clean Cart product, there are some publishers, because more publishers are getting into e-commerce, funny enough,
Yep.
as a business line. But really, it's any online retailer. Anybody who's selling anything with a shopping cart online is who we're working with. And it is an interesting topic, and it's not a dumb question, because this is something that I feel like there's a lot there's a lack of awareness about it. A lot of us as buyers or as shoppers use these extensions and think companies like Honey and Capital One Shopping, which used to be called WikiBuy. And there are a whole host of them. There's probably 15 to 20 of them. And there's literally new ones cropping up every single day because we track this.
Yeah.
But those are the two 800-pound gorillas of the industry. And as shoppers, we love them because we go to buy something and we'll be in checkout, and all of a sudden a little box will pop up on our screen and say, hey, how would you like to save 20%? And who doesn't want to save 20% off of their purchase? And so it's great, right? Well, it's great if you're a shopper, but if you are a merchant, I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. And there are many merchants who partner with those companies and who do see value in coupon extensions, and I think they hold the potential to help tip the scales with a buyer who's maybe on the fence about whether they're going to really purchase something. And if you want to improve your incremental conversion rates on your e-commerce site, coupons can be a really effective way of doing that. And in fact, that's why so many e-commerce merchants have coupons on their site, whether that's save 10% by signing up for our newsletter or,
Sure.
other
But I
codes that they give
assume,
out.
by the time Honey inserts the coupon, you're so far down the path of purchase that, I mean, they were going to make the purchase anyway, right? They're basically one click away from checking out at that point.
That's right. Somebody for Honey to work, I mean, Honey pops up early. It'll pop up when you first get to the site and tell you it has codes. You
Yeah.
just don't know. It's kind of like those scratch off tickets, right? That you get. You don't know whether the codes are going to work or how much
Yeah.
they're worth until you're in checkout and that discount code field pops up. And so, yeah, people are usually pretty far down the purchasing process. And I think this is where it gets really murky for merchants is there's not a lot of data out there around what impact does it really have on driving incremental conversions.
Yeah. If I'm at the grocery store and I've got my, stuff on the aisle that's being scanned and the cashier says, oh, you get $5 off. Like, did that actually change my shopping behavior? Probably not. It was just sort of a giveaway of $5 or whatever. Is that so?
Yeah.
That's basically the issue. Is obviously a coupon is meant to be a call to action, a way to convert more purchases. But you're just sort of, if you're giving it away at the very very end of the funnel, it's not really serving its purpose. Is that kind of the fundamental problem that these merchants are trying to avoid?
That's part of it. And it's really funny that you use that grocery store analogy because my CEO actually uses almost the exact same analogy, but with one twist, which is he says, imagine if you're the grocery store owner and you have a customer who's at your checkout and the cashier is running their items through and somebody walks in the front door of the grocery store and walks up to them and says,
Yeah.
here, get 20% off of your order as they're getting their debit card out to pay, because that's really what's happening. It's not you, the merchant, that's offering the coupon. It's some other person who's like coming into your quote unquote store. In this case, your store is your website.
Yeah.
And offering your customers a discount. And you have no control over it, by the way, because, and this gets a little techie, but with browser extensions, anything that is a browser extension kind of has greater permissions over your website. And so you traditionally haven't been able to do much about that. So that's part of the issue, but this is where it gets really, really interesting. And I'm a marketer by trade, so pardon me as I geek out a little bit on this, but it goes beyond just incremental profit loss. When I first heard about this problem, my hackles went up as a marketer because I know that when I'm giving out coupon codes, usually they're for specific reasons. And as a marketer, as you said, it's to drive a conversion or to incent an action, but it also is a way that I measure the ROI of my marketing. And so with coupon codes, if it's get 10% for signing up for our newsletter, then I'm using that code to be able to track, oh, that code came in, so I know that person is a newsletter subscriber. Or I'm saying, hey, I spoke on that podcast and I gave out a coupon code. And so anyone who bought using that code must have been listening to that podcast. And so that's how I judge whether my investment in those channels is paying off. So here's where it gets really kind of shady to me, is that the way the coupon extensions work, and this is what most people don't understand, is that if I have a coupon extension that I've chosen to install as a shopper in my browser, like usually, let's say Chrome, I go to the Chrome store, I put the extension in, I then go shopping. But let's say I'm buying from you and you've legitimately given me a code that I should have. Like I'm your VIP customer and you've said, hey, thanks for your business. I'm giving you this code for 25% off your next order just to thank you for your business. And I go to your site and I type that code in because you've given it to me. If I have a coupon extension in my browser,
Oh, it takes it back and then
it
releases it
scrapes
in the
it.
wild. Got it.
Yes. And so
That
this is
makes
what most people don't know is it
yeah,
scrapes the code and then it gives it to
yeah,
everyone who
yeah.
uses that extension. And so this is how those extensions essentially populate what are really like coupon search engines. Um, and there's little you can do about it. So this introduced a whole host of problems around like if you're an e-commerce merchant doing affiliate marketing, think about the implications there. Not only might you not be able to trust your data on affiliate sales, but you might actually pay your affiliates too much because their codes have been scraped. And
Sure.
there are even incidences where affiliates can deliberately submit their codes to these extensions.
Yeah, yeah,
And it starts to like veer a little bit into affiliate fraud.
yeah.
So, I don't want to go too far down that road without giving you a chance to see if you have any questions, but there's
No,
so many challenges with this.
Hey there, I'm Dave Zimmerman with Orca Pacific. I hope you're enjoying the show. I wanted to let you know this episode is brought to you by Orca Pacific, a Mighty Hive company. We're a full-service agency exclusively focused on Amazon with capabilities for everything a brand needs to succeed on the platform. From advertising strategy, content development and SEO, to merchandising and marketing. If it relates to driving and converting demand on the platform, our dedicated teams are leaders in this space. Our robust suite of services includes expertise on the back end as well, from operational support, demand forecasting and planning, to the right fulfillment options, and higher level strategies like long-term planning, channel management, and access to beta programs. To learn more, visit our website at www.orcapac.com. That's ORCAPAC.com. And a business development manager will get you up to speed on how we can accelerate your Amazon business. Now, back to the show.
this is fascinating. I mean, this is not something I'm super educated on. So it's really interesting to hear, kind of the inside world that's all happening when, obviously as a consumer, I have experience using these plugins. I mean, and on the affiliate side, it's not just that, oh, you could have maybe a 20% bump or something. I mean, you could have 10 organic redemptions that turn into, I mean, I assume there's some sort of limit. If you hit 500, it blocks the code from working. But I mean, once you release that into the wild,
Oh, can I
it,
just share with you a couple of
yeah,
scary stories?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
assume you could just go crazy, right?
So I have seen things that just make my stomach drop. And I mean, like I feel nauseous when I see them. They range from what I would say are like morally questionable to like really financially damaging. Morally questionable, we have a lot of data that runs through our platform because we kind of see on the merchant side what people are testing as far as codes. I've seen discount codes that for 50% off, and then the code is military hero 50. Clearly that was intended for a veteran.
Sure,
And,
sure.
everybody's using it. And I always say, like, would you walk into a restaurant and tell the server that you were in the army to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
50% off your
yeah,
meal? Like,
yeah,
gosh, I hope not. Like, why do we feel like it's okay to do that online? And there's so many others like first responder,
yeah.
teacher, frontline worker. There's so many codes that obviously are meant for people who are going above and beyond and it's a reward for them. And yet like
Sure.
I could use them. But so
Yeah,
that's the morally questionable. The financially damaging, the other end of the spectrum is my CEO, as part of his research, when he reaches out to prospective clients, he goes to see if they have a coupon extension problem on their site and he'll test it. Well, with one merchant, which is a very well-known men's clothing brand, he went and there were coupons and he found a coupon that was not a percentage off. It was a flat $75 off of your purchase. And there was no minimum purchase amount attached to that. So he was able to make, I think it was like 6 purchases of $75 or under and get everything for free. And now because we really stand for being on the side of the merchant, he immediately reached out to the company and said, hey, I just want to let you know this happened and that this coupon is out there. And he
yeah,
returned all of the items and then purchased the ones he really wanted and actually paid for them
yeah,
because we sort of like we draw the line on that.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, like horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
Um,
that's wild. I mean, I've had experiences in my career where, um, things have gotten like somehow uploaded twice. So you've had, two 25% coupons happening at the same time. And like, there's been no limit. And I mean, there's that stuff, especially when, everything is kind of viral by nature now, can get out of control really, really quick. Do most, do most sites have some, I assume they have some sort of like threshold, fail safe trigger on a lot of this stuff,
You
or
would
they
think
not?
so.
Okay.
You would think so,
Okay.
but this is what's been really interesting. So when we first, and our product is still in kind of like private beta, we're close to opening up. So we have, I would say, about 30 companies that are using it, and we're working really closely with them, kind of looking at how they're using it and the data, and we're having a lot of conversations with them. And one of the things we've learned, because this is the learning stage for us, is that there are a lot of merchants that honestly aren't aware of all the codes they have out there. And I think that that happens for a variety of reasons. In some cases, it might just happen because they're not very organized about it. But I think more realistically and more frequently, it's because they're using multiple tools to create the codes. They might have an app or a plugin that's specifically for creating coupon codes, but they might also be using more of like a marketing automation platform that has coupon codes built in. And so, they're kind of all over the place and things fall through the cracks. And so what we're seeing is that with our product, one of the things we report on in the dashboard is all of the codes that are being tested. And what that's allowing these merchants to do is go in and know where they need to do some cleanup and like shut those codes down.
Yeah. Interesting. Um, so kind of devil's advocate position here, and maybe we'll use a very tangible example. I shop on Untuck It a lot. I like their shirts. I'm a fan. They fit me well. They're one of those companies, like a lot of apparel brands, that do a ton of couponing, especially now since COVID's been a bit rough on them, I assume. Um, the other day, I made a purchase. I bought two shirts, and I bought them full retail. Fine, took me 5 minutes. And then I think the next day I saw, oh, in my email, I had a 25% off coupon code. And I just, goes to my email where I get 100 a day. And I hadn't checked it. I just randomly saw it. So devil's advocate position here is, if I had Honey installed at that point, I assume it would have kind of found that for me. I would have checked out, and it would have removed that kind of, I don't feel like, oh, I got hosed or anything, but that a little bit of buyer's remorse going, oh man, I wish I had that opportunity, or had a piece of technology pay more attention. Are you worried about, and that's a very specific example, obviously, but are you worried about any kind of customer blowback? Is this a double-edged sword to some degree? And I mean, maybe the case is still, well, you're better off blocking it and then figuring out what you do for your customer on your own, but is there a downside to just shutting
Yeah, I mean,
up?
that's a great question and totally fair. And I think it's something everybody worries about in e-commerce, right? Like you have to protect the customer experience at all costs. And the whole topic of couponing and discounting is complex, because there are definitely going to be some people for whom that last minute coupon just pushes them over the edge. It's like the last little incentive they needed, right? And then there are those super cost conscious shoppers who might come to you just because they found out you have a Honey coupon or a Capital One coupon. But then there, on the other side of that, there are your customers who are going to buy regardless. And
Yeah.
if they have their coupon extension, it's just going to lower what they would have paid you anyway. So
Yeah.
it's not a clear cut situation. And I think it's different for every brand. So my answer is going to be it depends, but I'll tell you what it depends on. So we
Okay.
do have some companies that have come to us that are more on the premium brand side, and they are desperate to get rid of this problem because they are premium brands and they don't want to be seen as a place where people get like hooked on constant discounts.
Yeah.
They really want to be able to preserve their margins, but also preserve that perception of them as falling in a premium category. And so what a lot of them do is they will have a small discount that they will just promote on their website so that anybody who comes to the site can benefit from it. And they know that it's a tolerable hit to their margins and it's completely within their control. So it's very public. It's not, these limited use codes that the coupon extensions scrape, or they put a solution like we have in place, and then they're actively like managing, giving out their limited use codes in a way that gets them the result they want. So there's that end of the spectrum with premium brands. And then, with other situations, it depends on your demographics too, because what we're seeing is that the users of coupon extensions tend to skew kind of younger. And that's going to change because I don't know if you remember, especially during the Super Bowl, these companies are advertising like
Yeah.
crazy. Like Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta are appearing in their commercials.
Yeah.
And, that's because Capital One bought WikiBuy and PayPal bought Honey, and they have all this money behind them.
Sure.
And oh, by the way, why did they buy them? Because owning those coupon extensions gives them access to all of your shopping data and your buyer behavior. That is what they bought essentially when they bought those companies. So understanding your demographics is important. Understanding the perception you want your brand to have is important. And also knowing what the extent of your coupon problem is, and knowing what marketing channels you want to be able to take advantage of. So I've spoken to a lot of companies that we're working with who said, we just flat out stopped doing affiliate marketing because we couldn't control it, right? The codes were out of control.
Yeah.
And so if you're somebody who really wants to be able to invest in affiliate marketing, stopping the auto injection of coupons can be a really good solution for you, because it opens up all those new channels. But the important thing I want to say just to this is, we are not anti-coupon. We're just anti-auto injection and scraping of coupons. Like, definitely still use coupons for your business, but do it in a way where you retain control over them.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I would think for some brands that are using your tool, it's actually the decision is not, do we keep doing what we're doing or use your tool? The decision is probably, do we use your tool or do we just stop doing coupons entirely? Because, so it's like, it's actually a way to probably prevent them from walking away from the concept entirely and have it more kind of sustainable going forward.
Yeah. And I mean, we're in such early days, but what I can share, I think, without divulging any secret sauce, is that, in our roadmap going forward, we're looking at things like adding in functionality where you could whitelist certain codes and they would be able to be auto injected, because there are plenty of merchants that are partners with Honey and partners with Capital One.
If you just have kind of the mass code, you don't mind if every
it's the devil, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. So my focus is historically been Amazon. We've not used Amazon. Obviously, can use coupon codes. We've not used them much in the past, just because they don't. If you're going to put money into something, they don't tend to be a great place to put money in, unless you have a very specific use case with an influencer, et cetera, et cetera. Any nuance related to the Amazon platform and this tool, and any thoughts on that?
There is. I mean, right now, we are blocking Honey and Capital One Shopping, and I think another one called Cooper, which is much smaller. We're blocking them on Chrome and Safari, and we'll be adding devices and platforms, and also coupon extensions as time goes on. What's interesting about Amazon is Amazon has Amazon Assistant. And when you are shopping off of Amazon, so if I'm on, I don't know, I'll go back to your Untuck It example.
Yeah.
If Untuck It were available on Amazon, which I'm not sure if it is or not, and I'm on another site that's selling Untuck It, Amazon Assistant can pop up and say, hey, we found this product on Amazon for less, which is essentially falls under the category of journey hijacking. And so I think that's something we're also looking at, which is, if I'm Untuck It and I want somebody to default to purchasing on my website, I may also have an Amazon channel to capture anybody who's there. But if somebody's on my site, I might not want them to then go to Amazon and be able to
especially if they're on your D2C site. Ideally, you don't want them going to any other retailer.
Right. And that's I probably picked a bad example, but you see where I'm going with this.
No, I do. Yeah.
Amazon Assistant is just another browser extension. Yeah. And if when it pops up on sites, what it's doing in every single case is trying to pull your customers off of your site and take them to Amazon. And so I could definitely see us, we're not there yet, but I could definitely see us looking at ways to potentially block that.
Interesting. Very good. Anything else that you think our audience would benefit from knowing on this topic?
I just think, the fascinating thing is that there's so much that online retailers just don't know about this. And what I'm most excited about is that I think, in a very unique position to start to have a lot of data on it. And we're in the early days, but we're starting to collect data on, like, on average, how many coupon extensions does a shopper have in their browser? And we're starting to identify different shopper personas. There's the person who might have one, and they're kind of like, if I get a bargain, great. But then there are what I would say are like the extreme couponers who have Honey, and they have Capital One Shopping, and they have Coupart, and they have Retail Me Not. And, like, they're going through all of them because they're just dead set they're going to find one. And those are the people who, even if you shut off auto injection, they're going to still go to the websites of those coupon places and like type the coupon codes in. So it's just very interesting what we're learning about couponing behavior. And I think we hope to be able to, like, take that data and turn it into some more education for people. But for me, the biggest thing about this is that there hasn't been enough conversation around the role that coupon extensions play. And while I think in some cases they can be helpful, and I might be a little controversial with this, but it reminds me a little bit of the conversation around Napster back in the day, where all this music was all of a sudden available online and people started downloading it and they were like, this is great, we're getting all this music at no cost. But it wasn't really fair to the creators, right? And I look at this situation and I think, so many people around the world are getting coupon extensions, and we're not really looking closely at, these coupon codes, whether it's Military Hero 50 or frontline responder or what have you. We're not really thinking about what it means to take a code that wasn't intended for us and use it on the site of a retailer. And I think, coming at a time when we live in a reality where, so many brick and mortar businesses have closed, retail has really taken a hit, and the only lifeline available to a lot of these companies is to shift their business online. To be taking advantage of ill-gotten limited use coupon codes, to me, is just really unfair to retailers. And so where I get super charged up, and maybe you can tell as I talk about it, is like, I think for us, it's about leveling the playing field, and it's not about wiping out coupon codes. It's about saying, hey, when you build a website and you sell stuff on it, you should get to decide what code executes on that side. You should get to decide how your coupon codes are used, not some other company that's sort of scraped them off of your site.
Yeah. That makes sense. Kathleen, this has been great. How do people find out more about you? How do they get in touch with you? How do they find out more about the company, and anything else, any thought leadership, anything else that you guys do that you want to throw out there?
Sure. Well, it's really simple. You can learn more about the company and our product by simply going to our website, which is just clean.io. And the product is called Clean Cart. You'll see it right in the main nav, and you can request access to the beta. Right now, we are on, or it's available for Shopify Plus users. If you're not Shopify Plus, you just give us your email address and your shopping cart. And when your platform becomes available, we'll just send you an email and let you know. And if you want to connect with me or you have any questions, you can reach out on LinkedIn, and I pretty much connect with anybody. So go find me there.
That's great. Well, we'll throw all that in the show notes as well. Kathleen, thanks so much for being on.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.